Welcome to the Butler Beat. I'm Mary Algier. Graduation at Butler is less than 2 months away. Seniors are thinking about jobs, and underclassmen are seeking internships for the summer and fall. With me today is Internship and Career Services Jeremy Walthall to answer questions you may have about finding a job or an internship. Well, thanks for coming by today, Jeremy.
Absolutely, I'm happy to be here.
So I want to start off with finding a job. I know if you're about to graduate, that prospect of leaving college and going into the career world is terrifying. So what should current seniors be doing right now to find that job?
Well, you're right. I mean, the transition to life after Butler can be a little frightening, and so that's really what our office is there for, is to help students work through that process. So right now, hopefully current seniors are actively looking for opportunities. They're polishing up their resumes and cover letters, getting them, tailoring them to what they're hoping to find. Hopefully they're doing a lot of networking. Most jobs these days are actually obtained through networking, so leveraging your friends and family and faculty and staff is a great way to find opportunities. And then practicing the skills of interviewing and all that, and those are all things that our office can help with.
Okay, so you mentioned networking is probably the best place to find out a job opening. Are there any other places they should look?
Absolutely. I mean, one major resource is an online system that we administer out of our office. We call it BLUE. It's an acronym for Butler Links You to Employers. And it's really where we post all opportunities that come to our office, whether they're for full-time work for graduating seniors or internships for current students, part-time jobs, you name it, it's on BLUE, even on-campus jobs. So that's one big resource. Of course, there's lots of other online resources too, but certainly, finding out about opportunities through networking is going to be a real key for a lot of students to find something.
Okay, so let's say you find that job, you find a job you're really interested in, or it's offered to you. What should a student do first? What's the first thing they should do before they just go out and apply?
Right. Well, before applying, we really recommend taking some time to really tailor your application materials for the specific position to which they want to apply. So, really doing a lot of research about themselves and understanding their skills and their abilities and their experiences and how they connect to that job. Doing a lot of research on the company, making sure that you really understand what the company's about, what the job is about, and then taking the time to really connect those two by editing and tailoring your resume to really highlight the skills and experiences that speak to that position specifically. Writing a cover letter that includes examples of experiences that directly connect to the job that they're seeking. Going ahead and applying, and then taking the extra effort to try to find, again, leveraging your network. If they can obtain a contact through their network or through someone else's network that maybe they could tap into to just do that little extra bit of letting someone know in the company that they're interested, that certainly doesn't help. Doesn't hurt either. So.
And how can ICS help you with that? Researching and getting everything together.
Right. Well, I mean, that's really the essence of what our office is all about. We help current students and alumni with anything and everything career related. So learning those assessment resources to help one understand more about themselves, helping them work through the process of tailoring their resumes, getting them and cover letters to get them to a good spot where they're really going to be superb. Helping them with their search, that can be a daunting task. We have lots of resources. Some I've mentioned, others that I mean, our staff has a vast network of contacts ourselves, and when we're working with a student, we might know someone in a certain industry or with a certain company that maybe this student is particularly interested in, so we could help make those connections too. We also I brought along, this is our guide to professional success. It's a booklet that we publish out of our office that has tips on all sorts of things career related. So resumes, cover letters, networking, interviewing, all the stuff that really one would need to do to prepare for applying to stuff and get ready for that interview process. So this is available at our office as well as on our website.
Okay, so you can just stop by and pick that up if you're interested.
Correct.
Awesome. All right, so I know another thing that anybody applying for a job internship gets nervous about is the interview. What are some interview mistakes or things you should know before you go into an interview?
Well, again, yes, interviewing can be a very frightening thing. Our office provides mock interviews for students, whether they're applying to jobs, full-time jobs, part-time jobs, graduate school will help with any kind. And they're really great and helpful. We use actually a video recorder, record maybe 10 questions in a real interview setting. We like to get information on what they're applying to or interviewing for beforehand so that we can tailor the questions specifically for their interview. And then after we've gone through that mock interview, we work through the questions and the video with the student, providing constructive criticism and suggestions and tips on how they might improve their answers. So yeah, that's a great way to get ready for an interview. Some common mistakes or things to avoid. It's really important to always try to be as positive as possible. Even if someone asks you, what your weaknesses are, or maybe a challenging circumstance that you've encountered in a previous experience, you always want to try to leverage what you learned from that experience, and again, try to connect it to how you might apply what you've learned to the position to which you're interviewing for. So.
Okay, how can you set up a mock interview?
You can set one up by coming to our office. We're located in Atherton Union, room 315, or you can give us a call. Our extension's 9383. And then you can also email us. Our email is ics@butler.edu. So any of those ways, we can help you set up any kind of appointment.
All right, so you mentioned that even after you graduate, alum can still get help. What resources are available to alum?
Yeah. Actually, that is one of the greatest things I think about what our office does, is that we provide all of the exact same resources to alum that we do for students, and they're free of charge. So at any point in anyone's career, if they feel like they need a change or might need a little help with something, they can always call us, come back in. We're happy to help them as much as we can. So, yeah.
Do alum ever contact the ICS looking for interns or?
Absolutely. That's another way that we encourage participation from alum with our office. We also, I mentioned our Blue website earlier. There's another component of Blue called Blue Mentors, which is another great resource for current students. Blue Mentors is a database of alumni who are available to meet with students, to talk to students, do informational interviews, do job shadowing, just basically serve as a resource to help learn more about maybe the job that they're doing or things like that. Yeah, so we do, and of course, we encourage alum to always, if they have internship opportunities, please let us know. And we also leverage alum a lot for some of our workshops that we provide to current students, whether it's through alumni panels or we'll have employers and alumni come in to help do resume critiques and mock interviews and stuff. So it's not just coming from us; it's also coming from the outside, and it's a good resource.
And the Blue Mentors website, is that attached to Blue? How do you get on that?
Yeah, it's within Blue. Every Butler student has an account for Blue, whether they know it or not. If you don't, just let us know. We're happy to help you get in. And then once you're in there, there is a section called Blue Mentors. You just click in there. You can search for mentors and connect with them.
So if you've been applying for a job or an internship, you just haven't been having any luck, what should a student try?
Yeah, well, it is a tough market these days. It really is important to put your best foot forward. So if you're not having much luck, I would encourage anyone to come in and meet with us. Maybe we can review the materials that they're using for applications. Maybe they're just not selling their experiences quite as well as they could. We could help improve that. Maybe the jobs that they're applying to are maybe not the best fit for their skills and abilities and interests. So there's another thing that we could help with is to help try to narrow and target their search a little more for them. And then, of course, you know, the whole idea of getting them connected with more resources and networking opportunities. So.
Okay. Excuse me. So I was going to transition into like talking about internships. So is it ever too early to look for an internship?
No. It's funny that you say that, because today is a new student registration day, and so we have lots of incoming freshmen coming in, and that's always a message that we give to the incoming freshmen. It's never too early to start on your career planning. So while most freshmen don't necessarily do internships their first year, they can certainly start working on the process of figuring out what kinds of internships they want to do, searching for possible internship opportunities, and putting in the work to prepare their application materials to do so.
Okay. And how can you obtain an internship, per se?
Yeah, it's not unlike finding a job. I mean, again, you know, we post internship opportunities on Blue. We also leverage other resources, online resources. One in particular is called indianaintern.net. It's an external website that hosts internship opportunities across the state, so it's a great resource. And again, you know, just, you know, having those networking contacts. If they have a company that they really like, or have a family or friend who works in a company, you know, even if something isn't posted, talking to them and letting them know of your interest in maybe doing something. People are always looking for extra help. So, you know, it's not unlikely that a student can even create their own internship. So.
Okay. And let's say you're a student who maybe has a major that doesn't have a specific job attached to it, like history or something, and you want to do an internship. Can you come to the ICS, or where can you go if you don't really know what you want to do?
Absolutely. I mean, again, that's a big part of what we do, is help students sort of make those connections between their major and possible careers after school. So where it may not be as clear to a student, you know, where they might be able to get an internship or a job, we can certainly work with them to help explore different career opportunities and internship opportunities that they might be able to leverage.
Okay. Well, let's say you're a student, and you've just got that brand new job or internship, and you're probably nervous. What are some tips for that first day?
Well, yeah, you're right. Again, the transition into work can be a little bit nerve-wracking. But you know, I think the thing that we like to suggest is to try to start with your best foot forward. You know, go in with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. Make sure that you listen and meet people. Start making those connections in the company or in the organization where you're going to be working, and just let them know that you're really, you know, excited about the opportunity, ready to get started, and do your best to, you know, to do that. So.
Okay. Well, those are all the questions I have. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Just to reiterate that, you know, we're here to help. Our office is open year-round through the summer. We can also provide assistance remotely for students who may be studying abroad or doing internships out of Indianapolis. We can always connect virtually and help them that way too. So yeah, we're happy to help.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That's it for segment 1 of this week's Butler Beat. I'm Mary Algier. Coming up next, you've seen him in TV stories and commercials from coast to coast. He's met a former president and is welcomed by crowds wherever he goes. Butler Bulldog mascot Blue 2 will be in our studio with your host, Nicole Thibodeau, in segment 2 of The Beat. Coming up next.
Hello and welcome back to the Butler Beat. After 9 years of faithful service, the face of Butler University, Blue 2, has decided it's time to roll over and retire. He's passing the torch off to his near and dear apprentice, Trip. Here today to talk to me about what it's been like to be America's dog is Butler's Director of Web Marketing and Communications, Michael Kaltenberg, and Blue 2. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Nicole. Thanks for having us.
So what's it take to become a mascot? How did Blue 2 become a mascot?
Well, it's not a scientific process. We're fortunate to have a breeder out in Liston, Indiana, Frank and Jean King, and they donate the dogs to the university.
Oh, okay.
And Frank is not only a breeder, but he's a AKC registered judge, bulldog judge. So he goes to shows and not only shows the dogs, but judges them as well. So we let him do all the picking, and as you can tell, he's picked some very fine dogs. And so at just like 6 weeks old, he picked out Blue and said, "I think this dog's got a good disposition as a pup, and I think he's going to be a great mascot." And so I said, "Okay, Frank, whatever you say." And we took him home at 8 weeks of age, and the rest is history.
Oh, nice. Does it take any kind of special training to become a mascot?
It should, but you know, with Blue, it really did.
Yeah.
We kind of just did our training on the job. I took him to campus the day I got him as an 8-week-old puppy, and he had come every day since. So he really learned on the job and figured out how to do it. Now with Trip, Blue 3, he has there's a few more competing interests in my life anyway. I have a 2-year-old son and Blue and now Trip, and so we make a point to take Trip to bark tutor, and he does get obedience classes. He's now going through Canine Good Citizen training. So it's we've stepped it up a level since Blue's time, but really there's no official or hard and fast rule on their training, but we just try to do what's best for the dogs and put them in situations where they can learn.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit like what a mascot does? Like give me a day in the life of Blue 2.
A day in the life it's never one and the same, but the consistencies are, I get them up, feed them, and then throw them in the Blue Mobile, and we drive to campus. And we get here, and they kind of get acclimated. They check out their bowls, they get a drink of water, they kind of check out the office, go see some of their favorite people. I'm sure they get some handouts. And then from there, it's a host of different things. Sometimes if I'm busy and I have a lot of office work, then they just lay around and just enjoy the student traffic that comes down to see them. But on days like today in particular, it's not even lunchtime, and we've done 3 or 4 appearances,
right.
Both on campus and around Indianapolis. And so so we keep them pretty busy, and the demand for the dogs and their popularity has risen so much in the wake of 2 Final Fours that there's always something for us to be doing.
Right. So if anybody wants to come visit the dogs during the day, where is your office located?
Jordan Hall 16, so that's the lower level, the basement level. And it's behind a couple glass doors, which is nice. Kind of contains the dogs, but you can go on in, and usually, they'll just be laying around or playing, and their toys are scattered all about. And it's a really fun office environment.
Yeah.
It's fun because the dogs are around, and that in itself is great. But then it's fun because it's also a place for students to come and congregate and see the dogs and interact with them. So we're really enjoying that part of it.
That's fun. I remember I came down to go visit one time, and I couldn't find where it was, and then I saw the glass doors and the baby gates and all the chew toys, and I was like, oh, I think I found them.
Dead giveaway.
All right. So what's next for Blue 2 now that he's retiring?
Well, he's passed the collar, so to speak, on the Trip, so he's going to start phasing out his duties as mascot. Here on May 20th, it'll be 9 years to the day that he started.
Right.
So we're really looking to let him retire around that date. And then his life won't change that much, actually, when he's done. He'll do a lot of this, laying around, but he'll still come to the office because that's all he knows. And I would really hate to take that away from him. He really enjoys that. So he'll come to the office, and he won't have to do many appearances. We'll leave a lot of that work to Trip. However, we have a great partner in the Butler bookstore, and Blue loves it over there, I think mainly because they give him treats, but also because it's good foot traffic through there. So when Trip and I are out doing a lot of appearances, rather than make Blue feel bad that we've left him, we'll probably take him over to the bookstore, and he can hang out there and kind of be a greeter of sorts. And so that's a good retirement job for him.
Yeah, be more of like an on-campus kind of
exactly.
phase while Trip goes out and does other stuff. So does he get any sort of official title now that he's retired?
Mascot Emeritus.
Oh, all right. There you go. So does Blue 2 have any helpful hints for Trip coming in?
I wonder about this a lot. I think it's just don't screw up, kid. But Trip's I think Trip's going to be fine. And Trip's had a great teacher the last year in Blue too. So it's going to be fun to see Trip kind of take on his own character and put his own stamp on the position. But no doubt he'll take some of these things he's learned from Blue. I think Blue's best piece of advice is just do everything that I tell them to do. You'll stay out of trouble. Try not to be too defiant.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see.
Do lots of things and you'll get lots of treats.
Yeah, exactly. Look cute.
So I know you take care of the dogs, but you also have another job on campus. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, officially, I'm the director of web marketing, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing for 40 hours a week. But as I mentioned before, that the demand and popularity of the dogs is so great that it often pulls me away from that job. And that's something that's been recognized by the administration and something we're going to work through in the future, because these dogs are a great opportunity for the university and great as far as public relations and marketing and community relations. And it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to chain me to a desk and not take advantage of that. So we'll work through that. But yeah, web marketing is what I'm currently doing. Really enjoy that. It's fun to work on all of Butler's web properties, from butler.edu to our social media presence, which I have a large part in with the dogs and elsewhere. So it's a lot of fun. It's challenging. There are a lot of aspects to it. But it's an even greater challenge trying to manage our live mascot program on top of that.
Right. I know they have like Twitters and stuff. So how does web marketing communications kind of tie in with being a mascot?
It's a great fit, because you're right. They do have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Vine, and if there's a social media channel that makes sense for the dogs to be a part of, then we try to sign them up and get some great content out there. And it's a model that's worked well. Like, it's really worked well and benefited the university, and besides 2 Final Fours, made them a household name. And so it really works nicely with our strategy and goals in web marketing and what we're trying to do, to not just market the university from a web standpoint to our traditional audiences, like prospective students and current students and alumni and friends of the university, but well beyond that, to people who have maybe never heard of Butler before. And the dogs are allowing us that sort of reach, and that's been neat to see.
Can you tell us a little bit how he got the nickname of America's Dog?
Sure. We have to thank David Woods of the Indianapolis Star for that. And the first Final Four we went to, Blue was starting his rise in popularity thanks to things like Twitter and his blog and Facebook. But then the first Final Four really accelerated that and put him on a national stage, literally. And David Woods, I think, pinned it best. He said, this week Blue has seemingly become America's Dog, and I loved it, and I latched onto it, and I just ran with it. And so now, whenever we kind of list a title for Blue, it's Butler Blue 2, Butler's mascot, America's Dog.
So I know they should be out traveling with the games right now, but
yeah, they
NCAA
really should.
doesn't let you?
Yeah, the NCAA, our friends down there, in their infinite wisdom, decided that live mascots cannot go to these playoff games until the Final Four. So
what a shame.
We said, thank you very much. That's the rule. We'll
We'll
abide.
see you there.
Yeah, we'll see you there. So we have our eyes set on Atlanta, and as of today, we're one step closer. So we'll see if we can keep it going.
Awesome. Well, I know I follow Blue 2 and Trip on Twitter, I'll admit that. And I know I've been watching, you guys are going on like a Big Dogs tour.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and like what's that been for?
Sure. When we joined the Atlantic 10 Conference, President Danko came to university marketing, and my staff included, and said, if we're going to be in these markets, and these aren't markets we're playing in for the first time, but we're playing in the first time as A10 members, and those include like places like New York and Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. So if we're going to go to these places, how can we take advantage of that from a marketing and PR standpoint? And I think it's one thing to send your president on the road, but I kind of put my hand up and I said, I think we should send the dogs. And he's like, okay, tell me more about that. And I said, well, we should send the dogs. I said, we should drive, and we should live tweet the whole thing and post about it on Facebook, and we set up the live webcam, and it became really not so much about going to the games. I mean, we went to a handful of games, and that was great. We got some good TV time, but it really became about the trip. And so it was setting up destinations and visits, everything from Hershey, Pennsylvania to you name it, like a picture with Ben Franklin lookalike in Independence Square in Philadelphia, and the picture with the Georgetown Bulldog mascots when we went to Washington, D.C. and outside the White House. So you know, this Big Dogs tour became a phenomenon, and the pictures we would post would go viral, and not only that, but would get picked up by major outlets, and that was the whole goal of the trip. You know, we spent just a few $1,000s to make that trip happen, but the ad revenue we got from it was nearly $100,000 worth.
Wow.
So it was a big success, great for the university, and so much so that we took it back and said, well, we should probably do an Indianapolis version. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, going to some of key Indy landmarks, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I know you said that you had an official changing of the collar ceremony this past men's basketball game, right? The final one here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was a kind of a bittersweet event for me that, you know, on senior night, it was also Blue's senior night, and his last home men's basketball game. And you know, Blue does a lot of events and appears at a lot of university functions, but probably men's basketball is his bread and butter. And so it was kind of sad to see him experience that one more time. But also great for Tripp because, you know, the tradition continues.
Right.
And it is the end of an era, though. And so we had a great custom collar made by Reese Nichols here in town to start a new tradition called a changing of the collar ceremony. And halftime took the Dogs at center court. President Danko removes the collar from Blue's neck and places it on Tripp's neck. And really neat part of that ceremony wasn't so much the changing of the collar, but after everybody left and it was Blue and I at center court, and I raised him up in my arms one last time so the whole, you know, sellout crowd could recognize him.
Right. That
That was the moment for me that really hit home, and it was a great tribute to a great dog and great mascot. So it was cool, and I think it's going to be neat for years to come. It was really a proud moment for me and everything that Blues achieved. On that court, in presiding over that floor 9 seasons, Blues' home record is something like 117 wins and only 19 losses.
Oh,
so,
wow.
He's been quite the luck charm.
Right, I was going to say a little bit of a good luck charm there. Well, I know this Friday is kind of a big deal for Blue, too. Can you tell us a little bit about that in closing statements?
Wednesday the 27th will officially be Blue's 9th birthday. So on the 29th, the Butler University Student Foundation has once again agreed to hold a campus birthday party for Blue. That's not uncommon, but this year there's a little twist because it's a birthday/retirement party.
Oh, right.
So we're going to open that up noon to 2 next Friday the 29th. And allow people to come in and see Blue, get a picture with him, and of course there's going to be cupcakes from Holy Cow Cupcakes that Blue doesn't get to enjoy, but all the students and the public is welcome to attend and take part in that. And then not only are there going to be prizes, but there's special merchandise. There's a number 9 poster, we call it, which is a tribute to Blue. Really cool piece. That's $4.95, and then there's a new Blue Tervis tumbler that's not out yet that will be released that day that I think people will really enjoy. And then something that's very cool is we're going to unveil a portrait of Blue that day.
Oh,
Local artist James Kelly of Mad Lab Studios has painted Blue's likeness on the mall with Jordan Hall behind. It's a really nice piece, and he's going to unveil that at the party on Friday and then dedicate it to Butler, and then it will eventually hang inside Jordan Hall.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
And if you're interested in joining Blue, too, for his celebration of his birthday, you can stop by Atherton next Friday. Tune in next time for our next edition of the Butler Beat. I'm Nicole Thibodeau.